The ancient city of Chester has perhaps one of the most attractive city centres. Founded in 79 AD by the Romans, it still has some of the best preserved city walls. Chester Cathedral is built from new red sandstone. Although quite easy to carve, it is also easily eroded and affected by modern-day pollution. It was extensively restored, mostly in the 19th century. Out of the many stained glass windows, my favourite has to be the Creation Window, as it is called, by Rosalind Grimshaw, dated 2001. As the weather was improving, we decided to walk along the city wall, and we soon came across the remains of the Roman amphitheatre. The Roman gardens were created in 1949 by Graham Webster, curator of the Grosvenor Museum, from ancient artefacts found from an excavation in the 19th century. Chester sits on the River Dee, an attractive spot to have a stroll along the promenade or take a boat trip. The Old Dee Bridge dates from the 14th century and is the oldest standing bridge in Chester. Just 2 minutes walk from the river and within the walled city brings us to the Grosvenor Shopping Centre with its many well-known store brands. The Chester Rows are very much unique to the city and run along many of the half-timbered buildings, some dating from the 13th century, but many having a facade restored during the Victorian era. Reached by steps from street level, brings you up to a second row of shops, thus making in effect an extra street. On my bucket list was to have a trip on the Mersey Ferry across to Liverpool. Departing from Birkenhead aboard Snowdrop, which is one of the 2 remaining ferries still plying the route. The day was looking somewhat inclement, but I was still interested to see the Liverpool skyline getting nearer. The ferry now does take a route enabling the tourist to get a full view of the waterfront and its iconic buildings. There have been ferries in some form or fashion operating since the 12th century, but the various tunnels built over the years took away most of the trade, resulting in a decrease in operating schedules. Today it caters for the tourists, operating a more cruise-like service, with 2 ferries giving the passenger longer to take in the skyline. As we get closer to the Pier Head terminal, we get a closer look at the Three Graces, dominated by the Royal Liver building and its famous mythical liver birds. After mooring up at the Pier Head terminal and back on land, the first place to visit was the Free Museum of Liverpool. where Lion Loco and the overhead railway tramcar took centre stage. Lion, built in 1838, first saw service on the Liverpool and Manchester Railway. After 20 years went on to have a somewhat checkered career, but did take part in the 1980 Liverpool and Manchester 150th celebrations at Rainhill. After a survey in 1992, it was decided to be conserved as a static display. Displays are numerous, with many temporary exhibits likely to change. Continuing along Canning Dock, the Liver building always stands proud. Shown here we see Canning Dock, pumping house, and behind the Merseyside Maritime Museum a part view of Albert Dock and the Britannia Pavilion, with Liverpool Cathedral standing proud in the background. The Kathleen and May is Britain's last working topsail schooner, still in operation. She was a trading vessel until 1961 and took part in the 2012 Queen's Jubilee River Pageant. After further restoration, she now has an official berth on the Liverpool waterfront. Walking along Hartley Quay, the pump house predominates and is now a pub restaurant. But in the opposite direction, we came across the statue of Billy Fury, who became a big star and had record sales to equal the many stars of the period, but probably only remembered by the oldies like me. Back towards Pierhead, the Three Graces dominate the waterfront, the farthest being the Port of Liverpool building, and is the oldest, opened in 1907. Its immediate neighbour is the Cunard building, finished in 1917, which today houses the British Music Experience Museum, along with office space. King Edward VII stands proud in front. Of course, these guys need no introduction. Sculpted by Andrew Edwards, the statue was donated by the iconic Cavern Club, placed in 2015 to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the last Beatles gig in Liverpool. A snowdrop arrives back at Pierhead to take us back to Birkenhead. Sadly, we have to leave. But we do get our final look at the waterfront, which looks all the more impressive when the sun shines.